question to Attorney Kitchen. Appellate justices are still elected by the citizens of our state, while several bar associations in North Carolina, including the Bar Association and this organization, are in favor of merit selection. Since our judges are still elected, what do you feel is the most effective way for voters to become aware of your qualifications? And do you believe there should be limits on what judicial candidates can say or do during campaigns?
I'm Chuck Kitchen, and I'm also running for seat 3 on the North Carolina Court of Appeals. I'm a native of North Carolina, and also I've been practicing law in this state for the last 38 years. For 30 of those years, I was a county attorney in Alamance and in Durham counties. And during this time, we found that it's cost-effective not to have liability insurance coverage. So while I was in Alamance, I was pretty much solely the defense attorney for Alamance County for 10 years, litigated all the tort cases, all the contracts cases, and all the constitutional claims that came against Alamance County. When I went to Durham, I had a much larger staff, but again there, we did away with the insurance, and I handled all the defense work for Durham County along with my staff. One of the things that I am proud to say is since I've been practicing, and especially during that 30 years, we never lost a tort case or a civil rights case. Now, part of that is knowing the law. Part of it is also we had a good claims procedure we set up so people that were actually injured could get paid. But I just wanted to let you know that I do understand defense law. I have been doing it for a long, long time. I think it is important, if you're going to be a judge on the Court of Appeals, that you have practiced in the trial courts. I have practiced in district courts, in superior court. I've also practiced in the federal courts, which isn't directly relevant. But I can say that I have had extensive experience. When you make a decision on the Court of Appeals, you can't just look at the law by itself. You must put it in context. In order to know that context, understand that context, you had to have experienced trials in those cases, in those courts. Now, specifically, I'm asked 2 questions. One is, what's the most effective way for voters to become aware of your qualifications? Well, I'll say there's 2 ways. One, you can ask me. I'll be glad to talk to you about it. If you can't do that, obviously there's an awful lot of voters. Go to my website, kitchenforcourtofappeals.com. Has my CV there, talks about what I've done. Now, as far as me getting that information out to people and trying to let them know who I am, that is a much more difficult situation now. Before, the gold standard was you run TV commercials, you go out, raise enough money, if you can get on television, get some super PAC to support you, then you'll be on television. Interestingly enough, I have 2 adult sons. Neither of my sons has television coming from a local provider. They don't get cable television, they don't get over-the-air television, they get it all off the internet. They have Hulu. For those in my generation, that was unheard of. I mean, you got TV off the air, or you got it from cable. That simply doesn't exist now. There is no one place to go and advertise. It's very hard to get your message out. Still, radio is still out there, but as I was coming over here, I was thinking about what I was going to say about radio. Used to, you listen to your local radio station. Now, I'm listening to Sirius XM, and obviously I'm not going to be advertising on that, sending stuff all over the country. So it's very difficult now for candidates to get their message out. Do I believe there should be limits on what judicial candidates can say or do during their campaign? The answer is yes, I do. The reason for that is everyone is entitled to a fair and impartial judge. If you've gone out and you've gone on the campaign trail and staked yourself out on issues, you cannot have the appearance of impartiality. It just won't work. And you stand a real chance of someone moving to disqualify you from hearing a case. So yes, there are limits. My time's about up, so I'll close with this. I am the candidate with the most experience by far, both in trial work and on appellate litigation. I would ask for your support and your endorsement. Thank you.